Hello, everyone. I wanted to come on and share with you about something really interesting that happened to me a little while earlier when I was at the grocery store. So, for those of you that have gotten to know me and are getting used to kind of my teachings, the message that I give, this probably will be something that you've heard me say before. If you're new to me, this is going to be something that you're going to be hearing pretty often. I'm going to ask that you forgive me. I'm still dealing with winter allergies, especially for that week that I couldn't have my humidifier at night. It's just happening, so I'm dealing with it, but there is the throat clearing that we're going to have to get through together when I'm on here talking. So today I was at the grocery store. I had to, of course, get groceries. I'm a human being. I need food too, right? And I had this very, very interesting experience. Okay, so I'm there, I'm checking out, I guess I'll backtrack a little bit. At one point when I was in the grocery store, I kept running into these two women. It was really odd. So there were these two women they were talking to each other. Apparently they knew each other. They were like catching up and they were reconnecting. And it was like every time I turned around, I was like bumping into them, and it was just kind of funny. And I was like, I'm sorry, excuse me, whatever. And it was like no big deal. But when it happened that it was time for me to check out, I'm checking out, going through the process, and one of the women who I kept bumping into came to check out behind me in the line. Well, I'm going through the process, and I don't have one of like the discount cards there where I go. It's called MVP card. I don't have one. I guess I should just get one, but I don't have one, and I never use it. I always just use the store card. They have a store card, and it'll like give you all the discounts that are whatever that you would get with like your MVP card. Well, for whatever reason, like the store card wasn't working when the woman was putting it in. So the woman, the checkout woman, so the other woman who was behind me in line was like, oh, here, just use mine. And so she goes and like puts her number in and hits enter. And then suddenly my bill like cranks down by more than $10. And I was like, oh, wow. And then she was like, oh, I had rewards. I forgot. And I was like, oh no, like, what do I do? And she's like, that's great. I'm so glad I could bless you today. Enjoy. And I was like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, of course. I'm so glad I could bless you today. I'm glad that worked out. And I was just like, okay. And this is where my struggle was. All right. This is where like the teachable moment, the learning moment is, for us in this situation, because in that moment, I'm struggling to accept this blessing, right? I'm like, oh gosh, like I felt bad for this woman that she missed out on, $10 or however much it was, like that she had built up of reward points. And then I was using that, and she was so nice about it, so polite about it. And I'm like standing there like struggling. And then I'm like telling myself in my mind, like, just shut up and accept the blessing. Okay. And I was like, okay. And I just looked at her and said, thank you so much. I'm going to receive this. I appreciate it. And she was like, yeah, of course. And she was so nice about it. And still, even now, like I still feel a little bit bad about it. And it's so interesting. So this is where the teaching, moment is. So I talk about this a lot, especially with like one-on-one clients, how so much of what comes into our experience is there to teach us something, right? It's there to teach us. It's teaching us something about where we are in our journey. So when we are going through these experiences and stuff pops up like that, it's there to show us. It's almost like a mile marker, right? It's like letting us know like where we are in our journey. So for me, one of the things that I've been working on is being open to receive, right? I'm trying to be open to receive. I'm trying to allow myself to be supported. I'm trying to allow myself to be in a space of receiving. And it's funny, I'm thinking about it, and I totally forgot to tell my VA that, like, hey, I'm going live, so you can let people know. Because this is, again, it's like me struggling to receive support. And so it's something that I'm actively working on, right? I'm working on healing that. I'm working on moving through that process. So here's where it's fascinating, because I could see through this like teaching moment, I could see that I'm making progress, right? Because I was open enough for a blessing like that to come in. When we're being more open for receiving abundance, abundance can happen in so many different ways. It's not just that like we get a raise or we get some like random check or like we win the lottery or something. There's so many different ways for abundance to enter into our experience, right? And someone paying for our groceries is one. Someone letting us have their points that give us $10 off our grocery bill. That's another. That's something I would never have thought. Be like, I hope that this happens to me today. This is why I talk so much about that too, where it's like we don't want to limit the way that this happens. It's like we want to just say, I'm open to receiving. I'm open to receiving. And, you know, that allows like all these weird, random, different ways for things to come into our experience to happen, right? Have you guys ever seen that? Like anyone who's on the live or watches the replay, like have you seen that happen? Where it's like something happens in a way that you would never have pictured it to work out that way or happen that way. Or for you to receive a blessing that way, and you're like, this is so cool. Like how I could not even have like imagined this or like created this in my mind. I just was open to it, and here this is, right? So it's a really cool experience when that happens. But what I learned through that process, I learned one, okay, the work that I'm doing is working. I had that energy healing clearing session with Michelle. She did a Reiki session for me, and I did and that crystalline energy healing for her. We did like a swap, and she's noticed like big changes already, and I've noticed shifts already, and it's so cool to see that. But I was like, that was one of my things, is like, help me remove this block for receiving. And she was able to show me like kind of where that block came from. And it all, of course, resonated very well with me. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to work on this, right? We have to just be open to allowing that stuff to heal. And so I've been working on that and being open to that and just going through that process. And it showed me that, you know, it's working, right? It's working. I was open, and something came in to bless me, especially in a way that was financial, and to show me that I'm supported. Now, what else did it teach me? It taught me that I'm still struggling with the worthiness aspect of that. Because if I was vibrating at this like perfect harmonious level, where when that happened, I would have been like, oh my gosh, great, thank you so much, and just felt really good about it, and really in this open space of like receiving and being like, of course that happened, because I'm worthy of that, and I'm in alignment with that, and I'm in that space, right? But that didn't happen. I felt bad about it. I felt guilty about it. I felt like I did something wrong, honestly. And that was a huge teacher for me. But I was at least aware enough to go into a space and say, I'm observing these emotions, but I'm not going to react with them, right? So I've asked to receive more, so I'm going to receive that, right? And then when it happens, I'm going to be shown how much I'm healing, right? It's going to show me where I am in that process. If I'm still in a space when this blessing comes in, if I'm like, you know, this is hard to receive this is hard to accept this, that's going to show me that there's still more healing work to do. when I finally reach a place where these experiences keep coming in, and I'm like, of course, I'm not taking anything away from them by receiving this. Like, they're a vessel, just like I am. They're a conduit, just like I am. So the prosperity is flowing through that person into my experience. That's the state that I want to be in and get to. But with this experience, I saw I'm not there yet. And it was very, very eye-opening, and it was a blessing, right? Because it just showed me, and this is why I say this when we go through these processes, and I get so proud of my one-on-one clients when they're like, I witnessed this. I observed it instead of reacting to it, right? And I'm like, woo, way to go. Like, practice what you preach, Nancy. Like, good job. I observed it. I witnessed those feelings, but I did not react and respond on that vibration. It must be given to receive her bless to you. But yes, I have no doubt that her blessing will return back to her. And that's the thing too. It's like being that open conduit. But when we have these negative emotions come up, when we have these negative things come up, we have to recognize that it's something that we need to observe instead of continue to align with. So that's what happened with this situation. I was like, okay, I'm going to observe how I'm feeling right now, but I'm going to make sure that I respond in alignment with my desire, right? This is very, very important. It was hard to do, but that's what I did. I said, I've been asking for more support. I'm receiving it now. And as much as there's a part of me that feels so uncomfortable about this and feels terrible, like I'm stealing from this woman and that it's not okay, clearly she's giving this to me. Like, she was fine. She was very nice about it. I was like, you could take it off. Like, it's fine. And she's like, oh no, absolutely not. Like, I'm happy to bless you today. And I was like, okay. So that's where it was like, this is what I want. I want to walk through life and feel incredibly supported and incredibly in alignment, and being in this space where it's like, of course this is happening. Of course I'm receiving this blessing. Of course, this person offered to do this for me, because they're all vessels. They're all conduits for the universe to pour into me, and that makes me more in alignment and more able to pour back into others. So it's like this beautiful synergy that gets created that makes this like amazing magical experience for all of us to exist within. So I wanted to share that with you guys today to kind of inspire you in your own journey, to remind you the importance of observing that when situations happen that kind of make us feel a little squirmy, right? That we're feeling a little bit triggered or reactive to. Those are there as our little mile markers, right? They're just showing us where we are. So stepping back and saying, okay, what's actually happening right now is in alignment with my desires, but it's my own beliefs that are out of alignment right now. So I need to make sure that I'm responding in alignment with the outcome and desire that I've projected, instead of still from a lack or unworthy or not good enough or whatever space, right? A fear-based space is really what that is. And like really stepping into that awareness to observe it and make sure that we're still responding from the place that's going to continue to align in the direction that we're wanting to go. Because that's what happens when we make progress. We step forward, and then if these things happen and we're like, oh, but I'm really not worthy enough for this, it falls off, right? I've talked about this. This is one of the reasons that I revamped the manifesting ritual, to reshare that and get that back out there, because when it comes to manifesting, it's so easy to get in that groove of like, oh, I manifest a new problem. And it's like, okay, but do you keep it? Do you keep the manifestation? Do you hold it in your experience? And a lot of times the answer is no. It's no. And why is that? Because we're not actually in alignment with it, with our beliefs. So there's like this two-part to it where it's like, okay, can I project this out into my experience so it will manifest? Yes, that's much easier than doing the belief work to where I actually can receive it and keep it in my experience. So this is where that observant part comes in. Thank you, Michelle. Where we're observing this experience and saying, okay, like I saw that and I'm like, oh, thank you. Thank you for this teaching moment. Great Goddess Creatrix Divine. Like, thank you for showing me where I am in my journey. Thank you for showing me this. Thank you for the blessing, but also thank you. And it was $10. I'm like, God, if I'm struggling to receive $10 from somebody that wasn't even their money, it was just like a reward that they had gotten on their thing. I'm like, wow, I've got some, I've got some work to do if I'm like looking to receive a lot more prosperity, right? But that, and I'm not judging that. And this is another important thing. Like we don't judge ourselves, right? We don't judge that. We just observe it. I'm just observing that, looking at that like I would any other client and say, okay, like we got some work to do, right? There's still work to do there, and that's okay. It's just letting you know where you are so that you know, okay, I've made progress, right? I made enough progress to bring that in. Now I need to make sure that I'm continuing on this path so that as those things come in, that I'm just in this place of like, wow, like thank you so much. I'm so like, this is amazing. Thank you. And just feeling, even when I say that, there's still this part that's like, I don't know. So it's like, oh man. So maybe what I'm getting and what I'm receiving right now is like, when I go through my manifesting practice and when I do my own manifesting ritual, picturing those situations instead. If that's where I'm struggling, if that's where I'm having trouble with my receiving, then I need to be visualizing those kinds of situations and responding in a very happy, receptive way, instead of being like, just focusing in my projection manifesting practice. I'm sorry, my cat distracted me. Y'all know how he is. Instead of just like seeing money coming in, right? I'm going to now go into that tonight when I do it, and I'm going to see people giving me money, me coming into money in some way, and practicing the gratitude in that space. Okay, so I've been shown, right? Goddess Divine, she showed me like where I'm struggling with this, where I can continue to grow and heal and improve this. Hello, Raziel. And so I'm going to say, okay, I received that. Thank you for that communication. Thank you for this lesson. And now I'm going to do the work to help improve and grow and heal that, right? So I can now go tonight and go into a space of, I'm at the checkout aisle. Would you not knock that over, you skunk? And someone offers to pay for my groceries, and I could stand there in just this awe and gratitude and say, thank you so much, and just receive it, right? Or someone offers to buy, I don't know, my coffee. I don't really buy coffee out, but, whatever. I don't know. Like, someone wants to offer to, cover something for me, and I could just say, thank you, knowing that I'm not taking anything away from them, that they are just being used as a tool for the universe to bless me. And that's where it's like I'm seeing this shift needs to take place, instead of being like, gosh, I'm taking something from someone. I need to recognize that the universe is unlimited, right? That's not possible. It's not possible for me to take something, you are pathetic, from someone, right? Because the universe is completely, now I have like fur on my mouth. He's so like, there we go. I'm open to receiving love, right? And so Raziel's like, let me love you, mommy. I love you so much. But it's coming from that space, right? And us needing to recognize that this individual is a tool, they're a conduit, and there's no way I could take something away from them by me receiving a blessing, right? Lots of work to do there, but I wanted to share that with you guys because it's so important, and because this goes along perfectly with the manifesting ritual. So I hope, and I see that Karma's on here tagging people. Thank you, Karma. As you tag people, try to tag the ones that requested the manifesting ritual, because they need to learn this, right? It's important. It's important to get that feedback. It's important as we go through it to be able to access that information and say, okay, I'm projecting this out, it's working, but I'm being shown someplace where there's resistance. So now I need to alter and adjust my own practice. So as I'm projecting, let me focus on being in gratitude in situations where I'm struggling to receive. So for me, one of my things with the divine relationship that I want to call in, I know full well that I have a massive fear of actually entering into a relationship for fear of loss of control. Again, this has to do with my witch's wound. This has to do with what my books are based off of, like what they're inspired by. And it's still a process. And I feel like that's why, and I could still be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the man that I've met, I think that it is him, but there's like this massive resistance. And I'm like, what the hell is going on with that? And I think it has a lot to do, honestly, with me, because there is still, when I'm very honest with myself, there is still this massive fear of entering into a relationship and losing control. Like, there is something very dangerous to me about being in a relationship. And that's very deeply ingrained, because from that massive wounding that I've carried over into this lifetime to heal, I have an association with when I'm deeply in love with someone and in a rich, fulfilling relationship, I could be killed. Like, let's be real. We're going to break it all down. Like, that's literally a belief that's hidden in my body. And so it's like, okay, I need to, again, look at that situation and say, all right, so I've been in alignment enough to call this person in. Pretty sure it's him. But I'm not able to receive it. I'm not able to, like, fully connect in this, because at some level I'm still repelling it, right? Because everything responds to our energy. Everything. It doesn't matter if it's, like, destined for us. If we're still saying hell to the no, it's going to be like, ugh. Because that's exactly what had happened. It's like we had started making progress, and then all of a sudden one day he was just like it was like something hit him. It was the wildest thing. We were literally talking, and all of a sudden he was like, I have to go, I'm sorry. And I was like, I don't even know what happened. And then he's been weird ever since. And then I've had to look at that and be like, probably something in my energy that literally was like, I'm terrified of you, get away from me, this is scary. So it's all there to teach us, right? It's all there to show us where we are. So now, like, I have this very clear view of when I go to manifest and when I go to do my practice, when I'm doing that, like, reprogramming of my unconscious mind and subconscious mind, okay, this is what I need to focus on. This is what I need to dig into. And then something else will come up, right? Maybe it'll be like the amount of money. Maybe I'll start feeling good about receiving $10 or $20 or $100. But then when I get, I don't know how, like, more other things could come in, or a bigger amount. I don't know. I'm not going to, like, put a limit on that, but who knows, maybe when that will happen, and then I feel it come up again. I'm like, okay, so now I need to get myself in a place where it feels good and I could stand in gratitude for receiving big amounts, right? So this is like, it was such a good message, such a good lesson. And I really, really hope that you guys can benefit from it too, because it was like a key, right? It was like a little key telling me, like, this is where you're off and this is what you need to do. And I'm like, perfect. Thank you. And the universe is always, like, communicating with us like that. Always. So if you receive something and you're getting that feedback, again, remember, observe it, but don't respond to those like negative feelings. You have to stay in alignment with your response, with the desire that came in, right? If anyone has any questions, if you're watching this and you did not request to receive the free manifesting, Magic Manifesting. It's a sacred ritual that I developed to help with the manifesting process. Let us know. Like, ask, just say, I need the manual or the guide. And myself or Karma will get that for you. Again, for those that are getting to know us and the group, Karma has come on as my virtual assistant to kind of help with the algorithm and with replying to stuff and like getting people the information that they need so that I can focus on clients and doing my stuff. So it's good. But when you see her pop up, she's supposed to be there. All right, well, I'm gonna hop off. I'm gonna go do my yoga. That's why I have absolutely no makeup on. I don't have mascara on. Usually I at least put mascara on, but y'all, you do hot yoga with some mascara on, you look like you had a good night partying. It's like all over your face. Y'all know, we've all been there. We've all woken up one day looking like that. Don't tell me you haven't. We've done it at least once. All right. Well, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for being here. I hope that this blesses you. I hope that you're open to receive it. And again, if you need anything, just let us know. Namaste.